Okay, we had the new parts come through from the factory. We'll get them on the car ahead of FP1.
Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2018 career mode, episode number 48 today for the Monaco Grand Prix in Season 3. If you guys did miss the previous one at the Spanish Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that episode out before you see this one. A wet track, dry tyres, a great battle with my old teammate, really great episode, so be sure to see that one before you continue with this. But going into then the duel on the Formula 1 calendar, and the place where maybe a lightweight chassis will mean quite a fair bit, hopefully, is our upgrade package of that chassis weight reduction that sees us now get up into technically third place on the grid on paper on the performance chart here, literally just a pixel ahead of Ferrari. You can see Red Bull make up some ground on Haas there, but ultimately still second best to Haas there in first place. And then you can see Force India stagnating a little bit with Renault catching them up, and then Mercedes, they've been plateauing a little bit after initially upgrading quite a fair bit in round 3 to 4. Now they're kind of not upgrading too much. You can see slowly but surely looks like Sauber, Williams and Toro Rosso are trying their best to catch up Mercedes, which would be quite a sight in itself. But for us then, this is a really big deal. For the very first time now, McLaren is the third best car on the grid on the performance chart. That hasn't happened so far. Even last season when Alonso was dominating some of those races at the end of the season, on the actual paper stats on the performance chart, they were never up higher than 4th place, I think, at one point there. So this is a big deal for McLaren as a team, and so let's try and take this kind of a good feel vibe. Obviously, last race, it was a pretty damn decent one, considering, or factoring in how the race went with the weather conditions and what was going on at the time, despite us losing what was a pole position from Alonso's kind of standpoint there. But let's just go into this one, all positive. Monaco, obviously, like I said at the end of the last episode, Monaco so far, 2 for 2, season 1 and 2, has been absolute chaos, and it's probably going to be much more the same in this third time around for season 3, and I'm ready for it, and I'm all for it. So let's go into the weekend then, and go into Saturday, probably one of the most important qualifying sessions of the entire season.
We're here at the magical Circuit de Monaco for one of the most challenging qualifying sessions on the Formula 1 calendar. Who can add their name to the illustrious list of Monte Carlo pole sitters here today? So then, Ant, it's another Grand Prix weekend, another exciting qualifying session ahead of us. What are you going to be looking out for over the next few minutes?
Well, so here we are in Q1 then for our very first time around the Monaco Grand Prix in Season 3. Going out for a nice leisurely drive here. It's nice and slow through the streets of Monaco. Or maybe not, going at about a few hundred miles per hour and across the line. And we set a good enough lap time, hopefully, to get into Q2. At the moment, I thought about here, you can see I just started to drive on. And I thought about maybe going for another fly, but immediately I was losing time off the last corner. And then Hartley also right up ahead, so I kind of aborted that lap. But in the end, as I go back to the garage, fast forward it, and to my surprise, it looked like even though I was going further down and down, I should have enough time gap to the next car below me to make it into Q2. I do, so Alonso tops Q1 there, and I go, pretty much we get the most important positions, the top of the Q1 timesheet, and then also I got the bottom one, the slowest time that got me into Q2, so I think it's a win-win in that situation, but nothing surprising there. Obviously picking up some more pace then in Q2 and Q3, and obviously Monaco is all about, dialing yourself into the circuit. That's what they always say, that famous kind of phrase. You have to dial yourself into the circuit every single time we come to this track, and you just kind of pick up confidence of getting closer to this wall, or going a little bit tighter on the apex, or braking later, or turning a little bit faster maybe. You just kind of, get that confidence building up within you, even as you go through qualifying, and especially the race as well. I feel you get into real rhythm. Rhythm is a really big thing here around Monaco. So Q2 then, hopefully this should be kind of thing where we're not, worried about getting knocked out of Q2, but at the moment we are not fast enough. We're P11, so just have to go for another lap. You saw there got very, very close and dicey with the Sauber, and also had to contend with this screen freeze right at the worst time on the exit of that apex of turn 1. But eventually we do find the time pretty easily through that second lap then in Q2, and so this should be comfortably then into Q3, and I would think the McLaren car should go pretty well. Like Catalonia, minus a few blips here and there, the McLaren car generally has gone better in Monaco in recent years compared to other circuits, just like Catalonia, so I'm hoping we can have another good one. You can see Alonso right up there in P2, so obviously he got pole position last time at the Spanish Grand Prix on Saturday, so let's see if he can maybe try and match that. At the moment it's all looking a little bit close between the Red Bull cars and Alonso there at least. Obviously hopefully I can join them, but because I set 2 lap times in Q2, I did burn up a fresh set of Hypersoft tyres, so I only have 1 set to do here in Q3, so I let everyone set 1 time lap, and then I've come out here pretty damn quiet. Literally no one's out right now. It's in that kind of awkward middle stage of the session where everyone's just come in from their first line lap and no one's going out for their second one quite yet. So I have a free track just to roam around, no traffic. I can really just concentrate on the driving. Don't need to worry about, oh, there's a splosh of colour coming up ahead that I need to try and overtake. And so through Raskas, then through to the last corner as the sun shines through the buildings there on the left-hand side, open DRS, and we run to the line. And let's see what's it going to be across the line. At the moment, it is P2 behind Fernando Alonso. It's a 1-2 at the moment for McLaren in qualifying in Q3 for the Monaco grid tomorrow on Sunday. Looking very, very good. But by the end of this session, our hopes are dashed. Out of nowhere, the Red Bulls find a lot of pace, and also Sebastian Vettel finds a good heap of time as well, and he goes P3. It's a 1-2 for Red Bull in the end, and it's we have to settle for a P5 and P6 there for the grid tomorrow, which was a little bit upsetting after seeing us in 1-2 literally up until the end of the session, like literally as the screen loaded into showing you the final top 10 standings, did these three cars set their times, Ricciardo, Verstappen and Vettel there. So that was a little bit annoying, but at the same time, hey ho, you can't do too much, and let's just hope for a good Grand Prix. Obviously, like I said, it's been absolute chaos the first two seasons. I'm expecting pretty much the exact same, so who knows? Sorokin won last season, Magnussen won the other. Is it time for someone like, I don't know, Marcus Ericsson or Lance Stroll to win it this time? Maybe so. We'll have to cross that bridge once we get to it, but let's just go into the intro, then onto the grid for the Monaco Grand Prix.
A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That was how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean Sea. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. We're on the French Riviera once more this weekend at the 2-mile-long Circuit de Monaco. The cars will climb around 40 metres up the hill, past the casino, and then descend downwards towards the harbour through Sector 2. It's a very short run from pole position to the first of the 19 corners at Saint-Devote, and don't expect to see much overtaking here today. Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Daniel Ricciardo starts from pole position today, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Alonso, the engineer, and Raikkonen, Magnussen, Grosjean, Hamilton and Nico Hülkenberg, Ocon, Perez, Valtteri Bottas and Sainz, Leclerc, Gasly, Marcus Ericsson and Lance Stroll. Hartley and Sergei Sorokin rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Right, so here we are on the grid then in P5 with Fernando Alonso on the left of us there in P4. Looking at the strategy then, as per usual, the default may say a 2-stop, but I think we will be trying a 1-stop today. The Hypersoft tyre to the Supersofts. Of course, we have to start on the pink wall compound that we qualified in Q2 with, but we'll try and stretch that as much as we can. You can see mathematically the game also does believe we can make that work. There just might be a fair bit of tyre wear at the very end of that Hypersoft stint and also the Supersofts, but the Supersofts really go a fair distance. They could almost do the entire Grand Prix, I think, if you really pushed it. So it's really just about trying to take the Hypersofts to a good, decent distance. That means that we still have a decent amount of grip to work with on those Red Bull tyres there today. But a 1-stop in the making, no rain whatsoever, unlike Spain last time out. So it should be a pretty straightforward one, but I can bet you it's probably not going to be because it's Monaco. Here we go then to the 5 red lights, and we're underway with a bit of a shaky start. Alonso gets a great one there. Verstappen bogs down on the left-hand side. Ricciardo into first place, and Magnussen shoots it down the inside. There's some contact with the wall with Alonso. Yellow flags are, then Kimi also went to the wall as well, and a full safety car has been called out no less than 10 seconds after the race has begun. Kevin Magnussen with the biggest dive bomb I think I've seen an AI make into turn 1 at Monaco ever. You can see off the front row, the two Red Bulls get away pretty okay. Verstappen a little bit slow. Alonso trying to attack Vettel, but there you can see Magnussen just sends it down the inside of not just just me, but also Vettel, Alonso, and ultimately I think it was Magnussen sending it down the inside that causes Vettel to push Alonso into the wall then, because look at this, look, a great brake zone there from K-Man, across the curbing, a little bit questionable to be fair, but he does the job and he gets up into P3 very cheekily, but I think that was a little bit half controversial in terms of the way he made the overtake happen, and because of the way he did send it, Vettel had to squeeze Alonso into the wall, and I believe also Raikkonen also got on the wall, so both Alonso and Raikkonen with damage on their front wing. So as we come through the final bend through Rasgas in the last corner, Alonso is in, Raikkonen will be in, and so at the moment the order is Ricciardo, Verstappen, Magnussen, Vettel and myself, and then we've got Grosjean, the other Haas behind me. So the two Haas cars making aggressive starts. Grosjean overtaking Raikkonen by default there, but Magnussen with a very, very aggressive start, and so that's changed the entire complexity of this race, because it does mean it kind of helps us out in a little bit, because it meant we had 3 laps of going easy on the Hypersoft tyres, so maybe we have an easier job to take these tyres a bit longer in this Grand Prix, but we go green then, back to racing. You saw, try to heat up the tyres and also try and keep up with Vettel, but through Rasgas, a bit of a lock-up didn't really help us there, but ultimately we haven't lost too much time to Vettel on the restart, but it doesn't really matter, because straight away then on lap 4 at the end of that lap, Vettel comes in for his first pit stop, so he thinks the Hypersofts are done for. It looks like he might be trying a 2-stop. I think a lot of the time, a lot of the top AI cars try 2-stops around Monaco, so well, like I said, we should in theory have a pretty simple, straightforward, easy time to maybe try and get this victory perhaps, or even just get on the podium minimum, as now we've got the remainder of the cars coming in, Magnussen, Verstappen, and eventually Ricciardo will come in, and we're out in P1 on lap number 10, Sainz in P2, we've got Bottas in P3 then, so a lot of people have already made their first pit stop. We've got a big yellow flag though on the right hand side of the minimap there, and it looks like there's an entire cluster of cars that have been parked up there, and the yellow flag's still going on. Is there going to be any kind of safety car or virtual safety car? It's a virtual safety car, but for what I can see on the minimap there, I'm surprised the full safety car hasn't come out, because look at the top left, there are only 11 runners here at the Monaco Grand Prix. Is this the Monaco career mode video, or survive Monaco at the moment with an extreme damage mod? Because we've only got 11 runners, literally just one more has to go out this race, and then the entire remaining finishers can all get points paying positions. Look at the big names out of this Grand Prix: Hamilton, Vettel, Verstappen, Pierre Gasly out there as well. I think I saw Magnussen and Grosjean also out there as well, so both Haas cars out, so some big title contenders out of this race. And so now this is how we're only left with 11 people then. It's a Force India that's stricken and then causes the world's biggest pileup at Monaco. Oh my goodness. What a camera shot that is. Literally the entire alleyway of the swimming pool chicane is blocked off, and then the Williams car comes and punts the already blockade that's formed here. This is how Vettel went out the Grand Prix then, absolutely smashed away, and then he's just sat there, and eventually the Williams car will come and smash in. This is our Gasly from his view. We've got already Hamilton out ahead of him. The Renault of Hülkenberg caught up there as well. Here is the Williams car of Lance Stroll with an absolute monstrosity of a punt on Vettel, and then Sorokin comes in for good measure and smacks the back of the Toro Rosso. But as we look on the replay camera and look at the photo mode, look at the pile up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 cars out of this Grand Prix, or 9 out of this Grand Prix, because there's 11 runners remaining. So I guess maybe one of these guys, maybe the Force India at the very front of the pack there, was able to get away and is still one of those remaining 11. But 9 people then out of the Monaco Grand Prix in what is a horrific pile-up crash here. Absolutely insane, absolutely insane. And it's not a lot of big names there. Like I said, Hamilton, Vettel, both Haas cars, either big names in F1 in general, or like the Haas cars, big contenders for the championship this season. That's a lot of points that are going to be lost for the constructors and the drivers. But now we're on the restart of the virtual safety car, and CARLO Sainz in second place on the ultra soft tyres. Fancies a move round the outside. The Spaniard has it. He's up into first place. Bottas shoots it down the inside there. We're going to defend him on the outside. Oh my God! Bottas has just hit the wall. He's out the Grand Prix. How on earth is he gone out? This is absolute bonkers now. There's only 10 runners left. Looking at a replay, Bottas literally just drives into the wall. That was nothing to do with me. I left him all the room in the world. He could have easily squeezed me to the left there, and he just instead understeers and slams into the wall. So odd. And on the end of that lap 11, it's time for us to come in. I was going to come in anyway pretty damn soon from these Hypersofts before that virtual safety car came out. and also spoil the party there with Carlos Sainz. Obviously, Sainz, Bottas, and Ericsson, and quite a few other people in this race, obviously, that were outside the top 10 in qualifying, started on ultra soft tyres, and they're going to do a very easy one-stop ultra to super soft, whereas I've had to do the more difficult one-stop of the hyper to super soft. But so at the moment, I think Carlos Sainz then leads the way. It's then in second place Marcus Ericsson, I would assume, because he was the one right behind us, and Bottas out this Grand Prix. There are literally only 10 cars running around the streets of Monaco at the moment. This is literally almost like a Q3 session now of a top 10 shootout. It doesn't even matter for this. It's now a case of, obviously, yes, people will try and overtake other cars, but in terms of maybe some of the lower cars like Ericsson, if he just survives the rest of this race, he's going to get minimum 1 point automatically. So it's just about survival really for some of these cars. Obviously the likes of Alonso and Raikkonen here still in the Grand Prix will want to try and overtake these two Force Indias, and to say that one of the Force Indias caused that almighty collision, quite surprising and ironic to see both Force Indias still out there and in good nick, both of them with front wings on, no damage there, and they run. But at the moment it's Carlos Sainz in the lead, Ericsson in second place. Then you got the two Force Indias, Alonso, Raikkonen, with some front wing damage, I may add. Raikkonen's got front wing damage because he was in that pile-up. He managed to survive the pile-up, but he was in that, as well as was in the pile-up Dan Ricciardo. He's now way down the order, but he's still in this race. His teammate Verstappen's out, but the championship leader, Dan Ricciardo, has, well, a championship leader's luck at the moment, because he was right in the middle of that pile-up, and yet he survived this that collision, and he's still in this Grand Prix. So, you know, to win a championship, sometimes you do need the rub of the green, and so at the moment, the leader of the standings is getting that such luck. But now, at the moment, we're trying to overtake Raikkonen, like I said, with front wing damage. You can see going around the outside into the inside of Casino, though. Kimi squeezes us, and we nearly have our life flash before our eyes there. That could have been us out of the Grand Prix very, very easy, because Kimi was so determined to slam the door shut. I don't know if he's feeling a little bit salty about maybe knowing the kind of inevitable of me maybe replacing him for Season 4 at Ferrari. I don't know, but at the moment, we're just trying to hold on to a desperate good amount of points compared to his teammate and his rivals at the moment with front wing damage. But eventually, hopefully, we can actually overtake him, because with front wing damage, I've been pretty much the worst circuit to have a little bit of front wing damage is Monaco. So hopefully at some point we will be able to overtake him. We just have to kind of shimmy and shake and try and suss out where we can actually make that overtake. It's not going to happen in Casino Square, because clearly, so it might have to be maybe perhaps out of the tunnel, maybe do a bit of a Sergio Perez from 2013 and dive it down the inside there. I'm feeling that a little bit, and just ahead of Raikkonen is Alonso, being held up by both the Force Indy cars. So I want to get on the back and overtake my teammate. I need to make this move and make it count now. Through the tunnel we go, catching the slipstream. ERS on overtake mode, and Rich Mix going. Raikkonen does gain a little bit there through the apex of the tunnel, but here we go down the inside. It's a big brake zone there. It's a big bold move. Raikkonen doesn't have the grip though and the downforce, and we do make it, and it's a really, really nice move there. Really clean as well, actually. There wasn't really too much bumping and grinding going on between our tyres there, and so that was just a nice gentleman's agreement almost of, okay, I think you have to let me go, mate, because you just don't have the downforce there. It would have been absurd if he tried to defend that. And so eventually we do catch up to Fernando Alonso, with one of the Force Indies of Perez coming in, and eventually Alonso and Ocon will also come in, so I don't need to actually worry about them on lap 18. We're being held up still, but it will stop now because Ocon and Alonso do come in, and so that's kind of a relief there. Otherwise I probably would have been held up far too much. And so now we're up into P3 of this Grand Prix, and we can go chase after this man now ahead of us, Marcus Ericsson. So from lap 18 to 24, it's taken us to catch up to Ericsson there. We've been stuck behind him now for the previous lap 23, and lap 24, really fancying a chance to maybe overtake him as we really close up now through Rascas. The final corner, we have DRS. There's a good entry and exit that last corner there, but then on the exit you can see he does grab the traction, and also we've seen so far this season the Sauber is very, very decent in a straight line. I don't know if it's the engine or a lot of reduced drag from their chassis and aero side of the R&D tree, but that car is very, very good and slippery in a straight line. So you can see that I just no chance to overtake him into turn 1 or even the first sector really. So you have to wait till lap number 30. So 5 laps later, and we're still stuck behind Ericsson, to the point where now you can see on the mini-map there, the entire top 10 bar Carlos Sainz is catching up to me and Ericsson. So this is how slow he's been, but also this is Monaco. This is how easy it is to defend around a very tight street circuit like it is, like we've seen so many times in real life, where he just trained the entire Grand Prix. I mean, literally 2018, Ricciardo did that entire race for victory. And so at the moment, finding the grip though, can we finally do it? I'm just going to send it here. I've had enough. Down the inside into the swim pool section, and we have made it finally work after about literally 10 laps or more being stuck behind the Swede for P3. We finally get it up, and we're into P2 of the Monaco Grand Prix. We can get away now for the final remaining laps with Carlos Sainz leading the way then, and I've got no chance in catching him in the remaining laps, so it looks like it's going to be a very, very sweet first ever victory for Carlos Sainz. Remember, he got that one pole position at the end of Season 2, I think at the Japanese Grand Prix, was it? And since then, the Renault Works team haven't had too much to shout about, but they've been increasing and improving steadily over the course of this season. They got a bit unlucky in the first 3 or 4 rounds, but they came good at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix and the Spanish Grand Prix as well. And here at Monaco, they're going to cap it off here with a victory for the young Spaniard. A GG to him. He survived the chaos, and ultimately, remember, the overtake he made on me was essentially the overtake for the race lead. So he did it also fair play. He did it fair and square. Overtook me on circuit, let alone strategy there, because that was literally my tyres going off at the very end of the virtual safety car. So it's fair play. But for us, I'm still very, very happy with P2, because it could have been so much worse. So far on the F1 2018 game, Monaco has not been a great circuit for me for results. So I'll take P2 very, very happily. Best of the rest pretty much there, because Carlos Sainz really isn't in the championship fight. So that's a big haul of points on my rivals: Ricciardo, Perez, Alonso, Vettel, all of them. And yeah, so it's another 3 for 3, very, very hectic Monaco Grand Prix, and another surprise winner.
Brilliant job, mate. That's a fantastic podium. Super driving, really strong pace. Very, very happy.
A great win then for the Renault team today. So, Ant, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant, but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
Here come today's winning drivers, and what a race it was! This is a team that knows success very well in F1, and they're just itching for even more. Congratulations to the Renault team for their excellent win today.
So there we have it, a Monaco Grand Prix with another surprise winner, Carlos Sainz, and a top 10 that were literally the only finishes in that Grand Prix, all the way down to Brennan Hartley in 10th place in the Toro Rosso. Raikkonen P9, Ocon there. Alonso got caught out a little bit there with the extra pit stop he had to make. Ultimately, Daniel Ricciardo, the man who was on a 2-stop anyway, and then got caught up in that collision and pile-up, he still somehow made it up into P4. So, like I said, it really is a bit of championship leaders' luck, and sometimes you need that luck. Sometimes, a lot of the time, it's fallen for us very well against the AI, but this time round, Ricciardo gets very, very lucky there, and he still remains in a very decent lead in the Drivers' Championship. We jump up into a really nice P2 then, ahead of Perez and Verstappen. Alonso gains a little bit there and jumps Magnussen for P5, but it's all still rather close. There is a bit of a gap from Ricciardo to me, but after that, it's all still really to play for, because no one's really got at least 2 multiple wins in a row. Obviously, the Red Bulls had some consistency, and again, Ricciardo gets lucky getting good points, but he hasn't had 2 wins in a row that really sees him streak far too ahead to really catch. In the Constructors, then Red Bull still in first, McLaren second, Renault jump up into 3rd place, just ahead of Haas there. They're level on points with Force India, so a really good day in the office for Renault and Force India, and a really bad one for obviously Haas with the double DNF, and Vettel out of the Grand Prix does not help Ferrari. And so look how far the mighty fall. Mercedes and Ferrari way down there, and you've got the likes of McLaren, Renault and Force India, the established midfield in the real life season, very much right up there. So really, really great to see, and it means that this entire season is going to be so hectic, because even if Ferrari and Mercedes, or at least Ferrari and Haas, come good, they're going to have to play a little bit of catch up already to try and gain back the points they've lost to McLaren, Renault and Force India. So really, really good. But let's round the episode then with the interview then with Claire.
Amazing performance out there. You must be really happy. You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
So I could have gone with either of these answers. I'm going to go for the bit of a kind of showy kind of answer and kind of a play to the Lewis Hamilton car. This one was for the fans there, the best fans in the world always.
Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today?
Obviously, the traffic was a big issue. It was very, very difficult to get past Marcus Ericsson, but here we're going to kind of complement the aero department and try and boost their morale there for the left-hand side answer for that one.
You must be thrilled to be up on the podium.
And once again, I think we can try and boost the morale of the aero department. Obviously, we're doing a lot of work on the drag reduction and also maybe soon the downforce, so complement them again.
Things are close between you and your rival. How do you think this will pan out?
And then rivalry-wise with Fernando Alonso, obviously I have a lot of respect for him, so we're going to go with a bit of a sportsmanship type answer.
Great. Well, that's everything.
And so ultimately that will be the end of the questioning, and we go towards the end of the episode then, talking about R&D updates then. Actually, teammate-wise, we're still actually losing this rivalry just about to Alonso, so it's actually really evenly matched here. So it might be 1-for-1 on the teammate rivalry, and we're actually losing just by the skin of our teeth against Sergio Perez. So I'm hoping at Canada next episode I can do a lot to hopefully beat both Perez and Alonso to try and come back in those challenges. But we get an extra 400 R&D points then for qualifying higher than 10th place, which is going to be really, really important for us, because those extra R&D points mean that we can try and buy a major upgrade then for one of the departments in the car. And I was debating really which one to do. Ultimately, I knew I wanted to do an engine upgrade, because I feel like that'll really boost us, especially going to, it won't come in for Canada, it'll come in for the French Grand Prix, but at France it will help out, Austria will help out, even Silverstone it will help out there. So I want to do an engine update, a major engine power upgrade, so literally just getting more horsepower straight away. So eventually debated which one to do, because I can go either top or bottom for major. It depended on if I wanted to maybe do an ultimate ERS or an ultimate fuel upgrade in the future, perhaps, if I went that far along on the tree, because it's a very weird tree McLaren has. It's a square kind of looping tree that McLaren have for the engine department. Eventually I went for the top one, so if we continued on that line of the R&D path, you can see I could get to an ultimate ERS update if I really wanted to by the end of the season. But you can see how far that major upgrade will leap us ahead. That'll actually make us have the best engine on the grid when that comes in for the French Grand Prix. So ironically, remember Season 2, that was also the same race where McLaren also had the best engine on the grid in Season 2 as an AI team. So funny how that was worked out, that we could have the same scenario at the French Grand Prix. And remember, Fernando Alonso won the French Grand Prix in Season 2. So that could be very, very kind of, meant to be in the stars kind of thing. But guys, if you did enjoy what was another simply crazy and hectic Monaco Grand Prix, Monaco being Monaco on this game, then be sure to smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And you're subscribed for weekly Formula content. I've been Aarava. Hope you enjoyed today, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.